I just want to start this video off by saying that there are potential spoilers. I'm trying to keep it to a minimum, but just so be warned. The Order 1886 recently came out, and prior to its release, there were quite a controversy regarding the game's length because, well, rumors had kind of aroused earlier that the game was only about 3.5 hours, and then when the Let's Play finally came out on YouTube, it kind of added up to around 5.5 hours, which in a lot of people's eyes, is way too short for the asking price, of a full price game, $60, or your equivalent wherever you live. And that understandably made people worried because this was like the flagship now of the PS4, because there hasn't really been that, many great games this latest generation that has been for like 1.5 years, and we haven't really seen very much come out of it. So when, the biggest release of, the first big release of 2015 turns out to be kind of, shoddy, well, people will be upset, understandably so. And I bought the game disregarding that because I don't think that the game's length necessarily matters if it's, done in a good, cohesive way. And, let me just say that I'm thoroughly disappointed. As I clocked in, finishing the game in just about 6 hours, under 6 hours, I think, like 5 hours, 40 minutes or so. And that would have been completely fine if it would have ended in a way that made you feel satisfied, like if it would have justified your $60 purchase, but the game does not deliver that. Instead, you're sitting there at the end watching the credits roll and you're like, what the fuck did I just witness? Because the game hints at so much more about character development towards the ending, right? Like, finally, when the characters start to gain personality, when you finally start to care, and when you finally start to understand what the first scene of the game was all about, it just cuts off. And I just don't understand how they thought that was a good day's work, right? Like how they finished that up and said, yeah, we're done here. Because it's the equivalent of going into cinema, watching a 2-hour movie, and after 1 hour, 20 minutes, it just ends. Like the third act, just gone. That was definitely how I felt. Like there was just so much missing here. And if it wouldn't have been like that, I would have been okay with it, But there was no... I can't even call it an ending. It just feels like it was cut off. Like there was supposed to be more, but they just ran out of time or whatever, which is weird because the game was delayed, and it's just hugely disappointing. And as good as the game looks, that can just not carry and justify a $60 purchase. Because here you have a pretty entertaining game that just ends up falling flat because of its inability to deliver a cohesive storyline. It's disappointing, and is just a real shame. And I just hope that this is not gonna set a standard for gaming.